record.
All right, now everything we say will be held against us. I'm just kidding.
We're live.
All right. Oh, thanks everyone for joining us for our team meeting today. And we have a special guest, Susan McClain. And Susan, thanks so much for being with us. And tell us about yourself. Tell us about your role with EXP. Tell us about your lifelong love of real estate.
Yes, pretty much. So yes, thanks for having me, guys. So my title is network specialist with EXP. So essentially what that means is I work with the large networks, AKA rev share groups, and the influencers that are at EXP. And I help with everything around agent attraction, increasing agent productivity, and keeping agents happy and staying with EXP, right? So we're that retention piece of it. So I have been in real estate for 18 years. Most of those have been in agent development and leadership positions. So I've been a real estate coach, a real estate trainer, managing broker. I was vice president of sales for a top 10 global Century 21 franchise. I was director of sales for Remax Integra in the Midwest region. And I'm a Canfield certified success principles trainer. I'm a certified meditation teacher. We're not going to meditate today, don't worry. And I've studied Sandler sales techniques. So I've just got a very extensive background in agent development. So the EXP actually called me about 3.5 months ago now, maybe close to 4 months, and said, hey, we've got this new division. No one knows that we exist. It's kind of cool. I fly under the radar a lot. But so this new division just to help our large networks. So they actually called me and said, would you like to come over and lead this division? And I said, sure. So here I am in your meeting.
Thanks. And then you, before most people got on, you said that your husband is involved in real estate too?
Yep, my husband has been in real estate for 28 years. He's a third generation broker. And so his dad actually owned the first Remax franchise in the state of Indiana where we live. So my husband was actually one of my early managing brokers. But we were not together back then, not until years later. But so yeah, he was my first managing broker, or one of my first managing brokers, and he's actually now the DMB, the designated managing broker for Indiana.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we talk real estate a lot. We try not to,
we.
like date night.
Susan.
Like, no
right,
real
Steve?
estate talk.
Great meals around the holiday table.
Yeah.
It is.
Conversations are fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my husband's on the IAR, the Indiana Association for Realtors Board of Directors. His dad and his grandfather were both the chair of the Real Estate Commission for many years. So yeah, it's just pretty much it. So.
So do you have kids in the business?
We have 4 boys, but none of them are in the business. They all say they don't want to go into real estate. So they've seen us, like
We'll see.
Probably, but who knows? The second oldest said he might consider it, but I don't know. We'll see. They're going to college and trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up.
Let them fly for a while, and then they'll get tired of the 9 to 5 or whatever, and
Yeah.
come around.
Well,
all right, cool.
Ready? You can go ahead and share my screen and get started.
Sounds great.
All right. Let me pull up, and I have some slides more to keep me on track than anything. I'm going to be real honest. So, all right, guys, thank you for being here for this mid-year business review. So I've already covered who I am and my background. I would love really quickly if we could just kind of go down the line and just kind of tell me how long you've been in real estate and how long you've been with EXP. That'll help me as we kind of go through these business questions, and we're going to talk about some of the market opportunities too. Stephanie, would you mind starting and telling me how long you've been in business?
Good morning. So I've actually only been an agent for about 20 months, and I've been with EXP for about 2 months.
All right, awesome.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting that you're here. Thank you. Danielle, what about you?
I've been an agent just under a year. My year is actually in 2 weeks, I believe, and I've been with EXP since.
Awesome, thank you. Coach Bill. Are you able to unmute? If not, it's all good. You might be out doing something. Jacqueline, what about you?
Hi, I've been an agent for 1.5 years and I've been with EXP that whole time.
All right, awesome, thank you. Steve Brown, hello.
Hello, it's me and my wife, Christina. We've been with EXP, I don't know, Lee, how long? About just a few months.
Yeah, month
or
and a half.
We're switching over now, but we were with Remax for, well, Reese Nichols here in the Kansas City area for, I don't know, from 2010 to about 2014. But we were with Remax for about 8 years. So we hit diamond last year, me and my wife and our team, and then we started talking to our coach and Lee, and we decided it was time to stop paying all the fees, and it was hard to grow our team over there, honestly. But we have a staff. We did about 222 deals last year as a team, about 4 or 5 of us. So we're excited about EXP. We're excited about getting going on that, and we have a little office here, and we're applying for a branch office, all that stuff. So we're excited. We're excited. Me and my wife, we're a team, and she's good at what she does, and I hope I'm good at what I do. But I got 2 of my kids on our team. So my youngest son's, he did 84 deals last year, just turned 22. And then my daughter Ashley helps run everything, and she's going to be an agent in October, starting in October. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So your kids are making money. Mine are still costing us money. So
all my kids are in their 20s.
Yeah. So are part of ours, but they're still costing us money. But okay, that's great. Scott, what about you? How long have you been in real estate and with EXP?
I've been in with EXP for about 6 months and back in general real estate for 3 years, but I've been licensed for a while.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Andrea, are you in a place where you can say hi? Oh,
I was gonna say Scott's in Las Vegas too. He's in Nevada. So we have agents all over on the call today.
love it.
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning. I am in my 8th year of real estate, and this month was 1 year of me being with EXP.
All right, cool, congrats. Let's see, Kristen, what about you? Are you able to say hi and how long you've been in real estate with EXP?
Yeah, I am. Hi. I've been in real estate since 2015, and this will be, I think I just hit my 4th year with EXP.
All right, good.
Awesome.
And then Maria.
Hi, everybody. I've been in real estate for 15 years, and this is my 3rd year with EXP, and it was the best decision I ever made. I watched a video and switched over the next day.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. All right. Hey, Coach Bill.
Hey, Susan. Yes, I could hear you, but I was right in the middle of something. I couldn't stop. So
I get it. I get it.
I saw the 2008, 2009 scenario and thought, what a great time to get into real estate. And that's when I jumped in. And it actually was, you know, with all the things that were going on, there was a lot of opportunity. So been doing that ever since in Wyoming. And been a fantastic journey. I've been at EXP. I started the application right before Build Event last year, finished it right after Build Event, and then joined at the end of August. It's been a fantastic ride.
Good. So I'll tell you, some of the most successful agents I have ever hired, hands down, no joke, I hired in 2009 and 2010 as the market was shifting, AKA crashing. I mean, literally back then, right? So it's a great time to get into real estate. Did I miss anyone? I did not.
Wait,
Okay.
I just added Ann to the meeting right now, so we can give her a hard time. She's just joining.
Thank you. Hi, Ann. Are you able to tell us how long you've been in real estate and how long you've been with EXP?
Hi, good morning. I've been with EXP the whole time, and it's been about 1.5 years.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for jumping on today. thank you guys for unmuting yourselves and answering my questions. It does help me as I'm going through some of these questions, just to see who I'm talking to. And we've got everyone who's been in real estate, you know, for a month, and someone who's been in real estate for, you know, 20 years. So that's really helpful. I appreciate it. So I'm actually going to start with this quote here. I love this quote. Success is not found in convenience. Nothing worthwhile is ever easy. You'll need to pay a price, and you either pay the price of hard work that begets success, or you'll refuse to make the sacrifice and pay the price of failure. I don't like the F word, failure. The other F word I'm okay with, but I don't like the F word failure, right? So it's just not a favorite word of mine. But in this scenario, what I think this is, or for this, the purpose of this meeting, what I think this quote means is that while we don't always want to take the time to step back and dive into our business and dive into our numbers, right? Because there's nothing typically fun about diving into the numbers of your business. We definitely should take the time. And when you step back and look at the bigger picture, we get to make adjustments in our business as the years, you know, just keeps rolling along. So I always imagine, you know, driving a big cruise ship across the ocean. And if I'm starting in New York and I want to go to France and see the Eiffel Tower, I have to make these small adjustments along the way, right? Or I could end up in Iceland or Africa. And while they might be nice places to visit, that's not where I wanted to go. And so I think it's really important for us to take the time, and I appreciate you guys doing that today, to step back and look at your business and figure out what adjustments you need to make. So the first thing we're going to do is go through several questions to ask yourself about your business, and just some of these, you know, this mid-year is a great time to take a look at what we've done and what are those adjustments. So the first question I want you to ask yourself about your business year to date is, how much money have I left on the table? Now, I'm going to talk about commission. So what would you have made year to date if you had charged a full commission on every transaction that you've done? And yes, I'm even talking about buyer sides, right? Even though we typically don't have control, but what would you have made if you had made a full commission on every side? So if a full commission for you is, I'm just going to say 3%, right? What would you have made if you had made that on every single transaction year to date? And I want to be clear about something. I'm talking about a full commission, not an average commission. In my market, the average is probably 2.5 right now, but that's not a full commission for me or my agents. A full commission is probably over 3. It's probably 3 to 3.5%. So I used to give my agents every year a fake check. And the check was for the amount of money that they had left on the table every year. So I knew their GCI, I knew their gross commission income, and I calculated what it would have been at 3.5%. That's what I chose to say was a full commission in our market. And I gave them a check for the difference, right? And sometimes when they saw that fake check and they saw how much money they left on the table, like their faces turned green, right? You know, like the little green emoji guys. And so it's important for us to realize that when we don't take control of our business and our income, we're leaving money, or we can be leaving money on the table. There was an agent that worked for me. Her name was Karina. And the first year I gave her a check. It was a significant amount. I don't remember the dollar amount, but it was a pretty big check. But that was the only check I ever gave her. And she worked for me for 7 or 8 years because she understood, when she saw how much money she left on the table, that it was up to her to make up the difference. So if she got a lower BAC on a buy side, she'd make it up on the next listing, right? So she'd charge them a 4% commission instead of a 3%. So she understood she was in charge of her commission. And sometimes we forget that in this industry, in this business, we forget we're in charge of our income. And if we provide value to our clients, we get to charge for it. The other question I want you to ask yourself, the other scenario I want you to ask yourself around how much money have I left on the table, is in regards to agent attraction. Anyone do agent attraction? Raise your hand if you do some agent attraction. Okay, great. So how much money have you left on the table in regards to agent attraction? So maybe not calling agents, especially the ones who ended up joining under someone else, right? You have those in your market and you're like, oh, I meant to call Bob and I just never did. And now Bob's, you know, he's already joined, but he joined with someone else. When my husband and I joined EXP, we had numerous EXP agents that said, oh my, I almost called you guys, but yeah, I just figured you guys were happy where you were. And obviously we weren't, right? So how much money have you left on the table by not calling? How much money are you leaving on the table by not converting some of your FLAs into FLQAs? Can you give any of your agents, those frontline agents, extra time, extra training, extra attention, extra kudos, extra cheering on? I know you've got this. I know you can do this. How can I help you? And then lastly, what about retaining some of your frontline agents, right? What are you doing and what could you have done to retain more of your frontline agents? Because when we don't do that, obviously we're leaving money on the table, right? They leave and they get out of business. But there's sometimes things that we can do to get them productive, keep them with EXP and help them be successful. So that's the first question, is how much money have I left on the table? And I actually want you to do the math. I really do. So, you know, it's really easy to say, oh yeah, I probably left some money on the table, right? But that doesn't help us make adjustments in our business. I'm asking you after this call to look at your business and say, how much money have I actually left on the table, and to do that math. All right. Oh, I love it. Maria knows. All right. Thank you, Maria, right? We all leave money on the table.
How do you know that, Maria?
I have a income tracker where I list all the sale prices, commissions, my broker compliance fees, my gifts, and everything. So like so far.
Where'd you leave it? Where's most of it coming from? Just cutting commission. What's that?
Well, 3%.
On a listing, or
yeah,
taking a 2.5 on the buy side sometimes?
Have 2%, you know, 1%. Broker compliance fees that I waived or lowered.
Like giving a seller a deal because you helped them with their purchase as well.
Right
They always ask.
Well, sometimes to get a listing at the listing appointment, I'm like, hey, if I get both sides, if I hold an open house and I get both sides, I get the buyer too, I'll do it for 5% total instead of 6% total. So I'm in the middle of that right now. So I charge 5% on a buy sell for my listing right now. So there's like $3,000 I'm leaving on the table.
But that's like bonus though. I mean, I think that 2% that you got is, you know, it's hard to say that you sold yourself short when you were able to procure a buyer for your listing.
Repeat clients, and I give them like a little gift certificate that says if they come back to me to sell it, I give them $500 off sometimes. And then sometimes I make them transferable to their friends and family.
Ooh.
So a lot of referrals. Like I was looking, and I would say 80% of my deals were returning clients this year so far.
I love that idea.
That's a great idea.
That's amazing, because it's not a violation. It's not, you know, you're not offering gifts. You're offering a discount.
A discount.
To their friends.
You know,
because if they're not going to sell anytime soon, you know, just tell them you give them another one, transfer that one, I give you a new one.
What would be really cute is to have like on gold paper, almost make it like a gold certificate.
Like Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had like, you know, when like animal shelters have raffles or whoever has raffles and they ask to donate, I'll buy like $100 Home Depot card and then attach one of those gift certificates. Like, hey, if you or a friend list your house with me or buy a house, I'll give them, you know, either a home warranty or $500 off their
Love it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I mean, you're keeping track, right? So, and there's also a difference between offering a discount and if someone asks for it and making a business decision, right? So maybe it's just making that somewhat of that shift instead of offering, and not your $500, like I love the $500 and that's amazing. But like if I'm on both sides, if I'm a limited agent or a dual agent, then I'll give you the discount. Sometimes instead of offering it up front, we just wait and see if they ask for it, right? And that can sometimes make a difference on our bottom line. But I love that you're tracking it. You're doing a great job. And you're the first one of all of these that I've done that actually knew the number. So.
Oh yeah, I can see how much referral I've paid out this year. Like
awesome.
I track it all.
All right, so that's question number one, is how much money have I left on the table from the commission and from the agent attraction side? So question number two is, what % of my business is buyers versus sellers? And I think this is especially important if you're newer in real estate, right? Because typically in real estate, when we get started, a lot of our business is buyers, right? I would say if I'm going to track it from a new agent perspective, it's probably a 60-40 for a new agent, 60% buyers, 40% sellers. If you're experienced and you're handling still both buyers and sellers, you're probably closer to 50-50. You know, sometimes you refer some of the, you know, those buyers out, maybe you're 60% sellers. But if a higher percentage of your business is buyers, higher percentage than you want it to be or than it should be, obviously we need to start focusing our prospecting on sellers, right? But we all know it's easier to pick up a buyer than a seller. But here's the deal, we're not in real estate because it's easy. Are any of us in real estate because it's easy? No, we might think it's easy, right? But we're in real estate because of the opportunities that exist and the potential that exists in our business, right? And sometimes we tell ourselves things like, oh, but it's so hard to get a listing right now. And I mean, who's going to want to sell their house and then buy when interest rates are higher? And, you know, oh my gosh, right? You know, it's just so hard right now, so hard to get a listing. But when we say things like that, we think these thoughts, right? Like, oh, it's so hard to get a listing. Our brain creates this chemical that signals our body to feel the emotion of that thought. Which that thought, like sellers are so much harder to get. That's a frustration thought, right? That causes frustration. So we think that thought, we feel the emotion of frustration or disappointment or, you know, whatever that negative emotion is. And then we think more thoughts in alignment with that emotion. And that's the thought emotion cycle. And we all do it, whether it's about our business, about a relationship, about, you know, going to the grocery store, right? We all have this thought emotion cycle that sometimes is a negative thought emotion cycle. So it's up to us to break that cycle. And when you find yourself in a negative thought emotion cycle, like, oh, listings are hard to get. Oh, my business. Oh, I had 2 transactions that fell apart. Oh, I can't get this deal to close, right? It's up to us to break that thought emotion cycle. And I want you to try a pattern interrupt. When you find yourself in that negative cycle, try a pattern interrupt. And a pattern interrupt is simply a physical sensation that can stop that negative thought emotion cycle. So what I do is I tap the side of my head. When I realize I'm in this negative place, I'll tap the side of my head and I'll say out, right? Like I'm the thinker of my thoughts and I get to choose my thoughts and think new thoughts. I get to choose thoughts that are in better alignment with that version of who I want to be. You can do like a rubber band on your wrist, right? You can snap your fingers when you realize you're in a negative thought emotion cycle. You can do these things to stop yourself and say, wait, I get to choose better thoughts. Now, I'm going to give you a tip here, and I'm not even going to charge you for it. This only works on you. My husband the other day was in a negative thought emotion cycle, going to be real honest, and I'm like, I got this. I can solve this. I understand what to do. So I went over to him and I'm like, out, honey, out. You are the thinker of your thoughts. You get to change your thoughts and think new ones. It did not go well. Don't do that to your spouse. Only do it to yourself, right? But I want you to pay attention to those thoughts, those negative thoughts, especially when it comes to your business. When you're in that negative thought, do a pattern interrupt and change those thoughts. So what percent of your business is buyers versus sellers? And make sure you're not buying into your own stories, right? Into those negative thoughts. Question number 3 is, what was my release rate? And I love this question, especially in a strong seller's market, right? So how many mutual releases did you have compared to files pended? Now, I've always wanted a less than 5% fallout ratio. In a strong seller's market like we've been in, the fallout ratio is probably closer to 10%, maybe 12% in some markets, right? Because we get buyers who have cold feet and we get sellers who say, I'm not going to repair anything because I don't have to, and I've got 4 backup offers, and right? So what was your mutual release rate? But if 10% is average, I want you to remember you're not average. You're better than that. So what is your mutual release rate? And work on lowering it. Keep that deal together. Learn to lead your client. Keep learn how to better negotiate. If your contracts are falling apart over the inspection, and that's why you constantly have these mutual releases, get better at the inspection negotiation process. I taught a class on some sales techniques the other day, and we talked about inoculating against objections, right? So I asked everyone in this class, I said, what's your brick wall, right? Like, what's that thing you keep running into again and again and again in your business? And when you identify it, like, what's my brick wall? You learn how to get around it. You learn how to inoculate against that objection, whatever that objection is that you're having trouble getting around. And I'll give you an example, a real life example of it. So when I first started selling real estate, I didn't have a sphere of influence, you know, in my market. I just moved. So my friends and family, they lived in a different market. So I started with internet leads because I didn't have anyone else to call. So I started calling internet leads. And what's the number one thing that an internet lead says when you call them? Any ideas? Number one thing, number one objection.
I'm just looking.
Yes,
just
exactly. Looking. Exactly, Julie. So I kept getting, I'm just looking. And that was my brick wall. And I had no idea how to get around it until one day I said, all right, this is ridiculous. I've got to change what I'm saying. So I changed my verbiage and I started saying, hi, this is Susan. I was with Remax at the time. This is Susan with Remax. I see that you were inquiring on 123 Main Street. If you're like most of my clients, you're just starting your search. You're just looking, and that's okay. But tell me what kind of home you're looking for. So I took the objection away before they could raise it, right? And when I changed my verbiage, I got around my brick wall. I was able to close a lot more leads, which led me to then being a real estate coach for other people who are trying to convert internet leads. So what's that brick wall, especially when it comes to your mutual releases? If there's one thing in your business that you need to change and get better at, what would it be? Anyone want to share anything with us before we go on to the next question? Need help with anything? Can we help you?
I think a lot of people are afraid to just pick up the phone and call. You know, I think that especially the younger folks, they're so used to just doing everything on their phones with texting and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they can send video text then, or maybe they can slide dial. You know, there's different ways to do it if you're not comfortable, quote unquote, cold calling. And it's, you know, if you can automate that, then that's even better. But
right.
If we go back to the release rate though, like I feel like I've been lucky. I haven't had any releases in the last, like, at least this year at all. I don't think last year either. I can't think of the last time no listings at all. No mutual releases on listings.
That is awesome, Julie.
I can't think of the last buyer inspection that fell through either. So
that is awesome. Good job.
Knock on wood. I don't know if anyone else.
You're a rock star.
Oh, no, I'm not. I don't know. I just feel like you learn a lot as you get more seasoned. And I think, you know, and it's a great market to sell. So, right. It's like, we're not sitting on the market for 60, 90 days. We're selling so quickly. So it's a natural that you're not getting a lot of listings that are being mutually released or withdrawn.
Yeah, you're right. You are. It is the experience. And that's why it's rock star status. You're not a garage band right now, Julie.
I remember
Bill.
like Julie, remember like 3 years ago you had that one listing in South Lyon, and then that one particular agent got she ended up with unconditionally withdrawing from Julie. And I think that when that happens, you really learn.
Yeah, I learned from that one. That was
you really learn.
4 years ago. That still stings too. Like it really still stings. Well, it was anyway, we won't get into that, but yeah, it hurts when someone wants to withdraw, not because they decided not to sell or anything other than I'm going to list with somebody else. And that's the only time that's ever happened to me. And I'll never forget it, you know, but I did learn from it.
And you got your revenge last week too, remember?
Okay.
So that particular
story for another day, people.
No, I got to tell it because that particular agent put an offer on Julie's listing, and there was another offer that was just a little bit better that she took.
It just happened to be a little bit better than his.
Yeah, little sweet revenge. So anyways, continue.
And
Sorry.
it wasn't just, there's other circumstances around that. I'm not a vengeful person. I'm not, but it felt kind of good.
Yes, I get that. I get that. But kind of taking that deeper dive into, am I losing contracts and why? And then, what are those brick walls that we're running into, right? And if we can head those off, it can make a big, again, making those adjustments, steering your cruise ship, making sure you're going to France, it can make a big difference in your business. So just asking yourself, release rate, brick wall, what are those things and what do I need to work on and get better at in my business? And now we're going to really dive into some of the opportunities in the market that we're seeing right now in a shifting market. And that's really question number 4, right? Which is, am I finding the opportunities in the market? So we'd all agree, right? We're in the front of this changing market. We all know this. We're all hearing it. And change creates opportunity. Someone else had said that earlier when we were doing introductions, and it does. If we know where to look, change creates massive opportunities. So let's talk about some of those. So I think, my opinion, opportunity number 1 is to truly know the market, not what someone with a scarcity mindset is telling you about the market, not what the news is telling you, but to truly know your local market. So are any of you tracking your local market numbers on a weekly basis? I see some yeses and some no's. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I do on a weekly basis in my local market. So this is just a snapshot. It's just a spreadsheet, right? Just an Excel spreadsheet. It literally takes me 3 minutes, and that includes me logging into the MLS to pull every single week. And I do it on Tuesdays because Mondays, everyone's, filling in from what happened over the weekend. So Tuesday morning, first thing I do, 7:30 in the morning, as I say, all right, how many list price reductions did we have? How many pendings? How many solds, expireds? How many new listings hit the market? How many total, and this is residential, listings are for sale? And then how many are back on the market? And I love that statistic, by the way, especially for your sellers, to be able to go into a listing appointment and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, last week, 150 homeowners thought they had their home sold, but guess what? They didn't, right? They had to start all over again. That's why you need a strong negotiator, and that's why you need me, right? So I love that back on the market statistic for our sellers. And then month end, I'm pulling new construction permits, and I'm pulling that from, it's called Baggy here. It's the Builders Association of Greater Indianapolis. So I log into the Baggy website, and it tells me how many new construction permits they had filed and were approved last month. I'm looking at average days on market, average list and sales price, and then our month supply of inventory. And when I do this, and I take 3 minutes every week, I'm able to see trends in the market before every other agent, right? I can see that, well, let's see, our list price reductions are increasing pretty quickly. Our expireds are staying about the same, but we know that the average contract time, list contract, is about 6 months. So what I'm expecting is, with looking at how many list price reductions are increasing, I'm expecting our expireds will start to increase here in the next month or so, right? So I'm able to make adjustments before every other agent. So if you're pulling these market stats, the second part of that is to be the voice of what's happening in the market. If you know these market numbers and you can see where the market's going, well, then you get to tell the story. You get to tell the story to your clients, your potential clients, your past clients. And you get to be a leader in the market, not someone who's drugged behind the market because you don't know what's going on. So I think that's opportunity number 1, is to really know the market. Opportunity number 2 is your CMAs, right? Your competitive market analysis. You cannot fake it anymore. You can't fake your CMA. We used to be able to, right? And this really strong sellers market, we got 20 or 30 offers. We can kind of throw a dart at the dartboard, and as long as it landed on somewhere on the dartboard, well, our 20 offers are going to tell us what the, what the house is really worth. What's the market going to bear for the house? But we can't do that the longer homes are staying on the market. So we have to really understand how to do a great CMA, and we have to understand how to do a CMA in a changing market. If the market is increasing, right, which it's been for the last 5 or 7 years, we can price a home above market value and the market will catch up to it. If the market's decreasing, right, we can't price it up here because the market's already passed us. If we price it down here, we're leaving money on the table. We've got to price it right where the market is. And that means getting really good at doing your CMAs. And we also then have to compare our CMAs to what our competition is on the market. We haven't had a lot of inventory to compare our listing to. We had to use our solds, but now we're going to have a greater inventory. So when you're doing your CMA, you've got to look at what's my competition and am I priced better and in better condition than the majority of them? And that's the only way that we're going to get those buyers. Any input on any of that?
Yeah, I love this. I love the numbers. There's a lot of, we're in like automotive, like Ford country out here in my market. And I come across a lot of engineers, and it's all numbers. That's all they care about, and if you can come in, especially with a shifting market, like this is golden for if you're competing with other agents to show them those market stats. I love it.
Yeah.
Is that, can I ask your particular example, did you just pick several cities or is it a county? Where are you pulling?
This?
Yep.
Yeah, that is just my local board. So this is the Indianapolis Board of Realtors.
Okay, that's just the board, your board.
I'm looking at the entire board when I'm looking at the market. I'm tracking the market.
So because obviously you can't do this for every city and you're going to have listing appointments all over. So you choose to do just your board.
The board. Yep. Okay. I'm doing the entire board. And that way it gives me the bigger picture shows me trends faster than if I do a city or a school district or something like that. It's going to be harder to spot trends.
But it is arguable, right? Sorry, Lee, but it's arguable right now that we're seeing different things happen in different cities. In other words, people are saying, oh, it's shifting. And in the city that I concentrate on, I'm not seeing it yet. So there's that. So if I was talking to someone in my city, it might just be a little bit different discussion than a board number,
From a board to a city. Yeah. And so, and I'm pulling these for our group, our agents we can give again, just that indicator of, all right, you guys, and I had a panic call from one of our agents the other day. She had listed a house on Wednesday and on Saturday she called me, literally panicked because they hadn't had a single showing. This was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep, this same thing happened to me. Exactly.
I don't know how to tell the seller. I don't know what to say. And I'm like, well, first of all, calm down because they can sense your fear. Now let's talk about, right, what are those scriptings? But if she understood and she could see the list price reductions increasing, that's a clear indicator that we've got to be really spot on with our price.
We also need to, going into appointments, not set false expectations. Really we use, they talk, you could tell them you're going to have this many showings. I guarantee it. We're going to get you a hotel because you're going to have to be out of your house for so long. And then it doesn't happen. Like that's probably why maybe she was panicking. So you got to keep the expectations.
We have ours set up, that what you just showed, you have your hot sheet set up on your MLS. So you can set it up at different ranges, 7-day range, whatever daily. But those numbers you have there, I look at those because that's great information because your buyers that are on the fence to put in park because they were waiting for something to change. You could use that to reach out to them and tell them, hey, there's this many price decreases, things are staying on the market longer. So I look at this a lot when I open up my MLS because that's where I have all my auto emails at, and that's where I have all my searches set up.
Yeah, and I same thing. I pull it from a hot sheet, and I know every MLS is different, but my hot sheet is set up for the last 7 days. So that again, that's why it takes me like 3 minutes total. Yeah.
And Julie, because I like the little market that I specialize with in Las Vegas, in Sun City. We're not seeing what the rest of Las Vegas is seeing. So I show both because everyone's hearing the news. So for Julie, I would probably do the big picture and then bring it down to your little section so that they're not thinking what everyone else is hearing. And it would really show what's happening in your little market. But
I love that.
To it.
It's a great idea. So 2 hot sheets. Can I do 2?
And it'd be great video content too, just to even report onto our group in our weekly videos.
Yeah, we do market updates. My daughter sends out market updates. We do that via email, and then we also do like videos on that, put that on Facebook and stuff like that.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And you're
That could
telling,
be
yeah, you're
something good
doing
that
it
we
right.
can provide for our team is if we can get, maybe 7 or 8 cities plus the MLS, our local MLS, and then we can provide the data. I would just adding another task for the VA that we're hiring.
Yeah, there you go. Great. Okay, so kind of sticking with the seller side, your listing marketing plan. So we have higher month supply of inventory, longer days on market in a lot of markets, right? So I think it's really important to take a deep dive into what our listing marketing plan looks like, because we haven't needed one of those in a long time. Again, we put the house up and it sells. We've been selling our negotiation skills, getting you to closing and sorting through your 20 offers, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. That's what we've been selling. Now, though, we have to sell our ability to get their home in front of eyeballs. As eyeballs are decreasing, it's more important to understand and sell our marketing, our value, right? When it comes to marketing and getting their listing in front of as many people as we can. And again, as days on market are creeping up, we've got to be able to say, and I think okay, I did. So this is just a couple quick examples. Like here's a marketing checklist for new listings. And this is just page 1, but it goes through, week 1, here are all the things that we're going to do to get your, get exposure for your listing. Week 2, week 3, week 4. And then at the end of week 4, if it hasn't sold, well, we're starting all over again. But we're able to say, here's our marketing and what it looks like. The thing on the right is just a mock-up. It looks, this was just like the initial version, but it's just a marketing brochure, like being able to sit down with a seller, because if their home doesn't sell in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, right? As the market starts to shift, we've got to be able to say, here's how I'm getting exposure for your listing. Otherwise, we're going to have upset sellers. And if we're not telling them up front what we're doing to gain exposure, they're going to think we're not doing anything on the back end. So really taking a deep dive into your marketing and what that looks like for your listings.
I'd like a copy of that checklist.
Yeah, I can send that to you.
That would be amazing. We'll get it to the team. Love it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. Yep.
I think the other question everybody's probably wondering, Susan, if you could share the spreadsheet.
Yes.
We can go back and reinvent that, but if it's already there,
Yes.
we'll leverage
Is that
it.
a Google
Thank you.
Doc or is it just an Excel?
Yeah, it's just a Google,
Love it.
Google Sheets. Yeah.
We'll just have to figure out our MLS and how to find what we need to find. And
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no
Thanks.
problem. Okay, and then 4, price reduction scripts, or if it's allowed in your market, and I don't know, or according to your state license laws, I don't know if it is or not. So this is my disclaimer. Check with your DMB if you don't know. But if you can write in automatic price adjustments into the listing contract, you don't then have to go back and 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, and have those repeated conversations with your seller. So if it's not allowed to do an automatic listing price reduction in your listing contract, get really good at those price reduction scripts, because as you're seeing, at least in my market, we're seeing the price reductions increasing dramatically. I think we've doubled in the last like 5 weeks or something. So you have to get really good at your scripts, which we're all rusty at. I mean, let's be real honest. We're probably pretty rusty at our price reduction scripts, or at least put those automatic price reductions in your contract.
Just to note on that, Susan, the scripts are great when we're having the conversation in the future. But if we're talking about it when we're first doing the listing, hey, our state won't allow us to put this in the contract. Otherwise we would, but there's a good chance with this market data, this is where we're going, and you can build that up prior and they're already expecting it.
Yes, great point. Yes, absolutely. I love that. And again, educating them on, it's a changing market. And so we're keeping an eye on the market, and that's why we're updating the CMA. And if you're updating your CMA on a, every other week basis, you're able to, again, see where the market is going and then have those conversations. I love that. Number 5 is your showing stats. So really understanding what's happening with showings in your market. So, and we use Broker Bay in our market. So I don't know if you're using Broker Bay, if you're using Showing Time or Centralized Showing Service. Are they still around? Am I dating myself by saying that? I feel like they might have gotten bought out by someone, but who's your showing provider, and are there showing statistics that you can track? So I went into our market about a week and a half ago, and the 3 weeks prior to that, our showings were down 78%. But that actually made me happy for 2 reasons. Number one, That means that if I'm representing a buyer, or my agent's representing a buyer, and a buyer says, oh, I want to go see this house today, I don't have to leave my family at the amusement park because they're going to get 20 offers, right? I don't have to leave in my, in the middle of cutting the grass to go show a house because the house is going to sell like that. So it gives the buyer's agent and the buyers more time. Buyers get to take a breath before writing an offer, which can be good from a mutual release rate, right? Buyer cold feet. And from the seller's side, longer days on market creates a stronger bond, if we're doing it right, with our sellers. And that stronger bond gets us more opportunities, right? More time for referrals, more time to do an open house and pick up 3 or 4 buyers, more time to do circle prospecting around our listing, right? More time to promote it online and get online leads from our listing. So the fact that showings were down 78% over 3 weeks in our market, it was, for me, not a bad thing, as long as we're getting out in front of it. Any questions on that?
No, I never thought of it that way, though. We're selling houses so fast. You don't develop the kind of relationships you know. I mean, I've only known a seller's market. I've been in almost 7 years, 6.5. So, I've really never known what it's been like to be on market probably more than 30 days, maybe 20. I don't even, I don't have stats on that, but more opportunity for more business, the longer the signs in the yard, right? Open houses and referrals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, more business. I used to teach my agents, used to coach them when they first got in real estate. Said your first job is to gain a listing inventory. We used to have listing inventory. Gain a listing inventory of 5. So you've got 5 listings at all time. When one sells, you go out and replace it. And then once you have a 5 inventory built up, then you're working your way to 10. And then you're working your way to 50. I mean, that's how we used to sell. We used to have a, that was what we trained, get a listing inventory. So times are different.
What's that?
I know. All right, we've just got a couple of them quickly that I'm just going to kind of run through here pretty quickly, but if you need additional information on these, let me know. Number 6 is investors. So between Open Door and OfferPad last year, they bought about 13,000 homes across the United States. They're not in all 50 states, much less every market, right? So they're doing this in one of the strongest sellers market we've ever seen. So if you're not Express Offers certified with EXP, I highly suggest you look into it. It's a free certification to work with EXP's approved investors. There's no cost to get certified. But last year, nationally, between 18 and 25% of all homes sold were sold to investors. So it's a huge opportunity. And if you're, again, looking at Express Offers, that's a great way to add, add that book of business. I'm an Express Offers certified agent. I'm a non-competing agent, though, like a non-selling broker. So I got 2 in the last 2 weeks, probably. Express Offers has reached out to me as a non-selling agent twice saying, hey, we've got an Express Offer lead in your area. Do you want it? And I've had to say no. So I didn't have to, but I did, right? So Express Offers, there are leads coming in. That's a great opportunity. Free location.
Are you saying, I'm sorry, are you saying this is just for investors?
Express Offers certifies you to work with the approved investors in your market, EXP's approved investors.
My son, who just turned 22, I mean, that's all he does. So last year, all 84 of his deals were investors. And he's got 2 young guys on his team within our team right now, Logan and Paul, and that's all they're doing too. So he's on Bigger Pockets. He's on was that Red Roof or Roof Stock or something like that. He's working with them, but he gets a lot of that's all he does. So that's cool. So just check in Express Offers, you said?
Yep, Express Offers is our partner. So he can go into the world, EXP world, into the partner hub and find the Express Offers booth, and he can just click on it and it will give him the link to get the certification. It's just an online certification.
Cool. That's nice. Okay, I'll pass that on for sure. Nice.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Steve, there's buy boxes for every state, and they'll know how many particular buyers there are within. In Michigan's just been a little, it never really, and in this market, it's not really my niche, but took us a while to get even one buyer in our buy box. I don't even follow it anymore, but definitely, Steve, that's a natural for those guys.
If nothing else, you
definitely
get to learn a lot about it.
Susan, is
the
there
fishing poles, the better.
Aren't they? aren't they taking people too, that investors, and adding them if Caleb has a group of investors that want to be buyers, so they can have so that's a good way for them to be able to participate in deals too.
Yep,
So
exactly.
that's something that he should take a look at.
Yeah, I'll
And get
definitely
them-
I'll talk to him about it and have him and Ashley check that out, because that will help him out for sure. So that's nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so last couple really quickly. So relocation, if you're not relocation certified, I again would suggest that you get it. I truly believe EXP will change the relocation game the way that we know it. So with EXP, because we're one brokerage across the United States, a transferee, then the relocation company, they only have to work with one brokerage when they work with EXP. So I think as we start to see the bigger relocation contracts expiring, whether it's Cardis or Brookfield or Serva or whomever, I think we're going to see a lot of that shift to EXP. So I think it's definitely an opportunity. And you can log or join the Affinity Relo Ops group on Workplace, and they will then post when they have those certifications. So relocation is a great opportunity. Expireds, we're seeing expireds start to creep up in some market, and there is a huge emotional impact that will be coming with these sellers whose homes are expiring. Because think about it, your neighbor had 10 offers 6 months ago. Now you didn't get a single offer, right? That's a huge emotional impact for sellers in a changing market. So if you can understand the emotional impact of now being a listing that didn't sell, and you're able to convert them into relisting, that's a huge opportunity for the right agent. So expireds. And then lastly, attraction. So I think small to mid-sized real estate companies are a huge opportunity to attract EXP right now. A shifting market makes them nervous. They're looking that inflation, right? It costs more to run the copier. It costs more to run the lights. It costs more to buy snacks and coffee and everything else to run their brick and mortar. And it could be a huge opportunity for those small to medium-sized companies to convert to EXP. And then I think from an agent standpoint, newer agents in the business, 1 to 2 years in the business, they see a shifting market. If their brokerage isn't leading the way, they get nervous, and that's a great opportunity for them too. All right, we're almost at the top of the hour. So anything I missed, anything that you guys have questions about or need from me?
I have one other suggestion.
Great.
After going through 2008, 2009, I think we were our worst enemies, because homes were selling, but we never put sold signs or pending signs on our listings. I think it's really important to do that now, this way we let know the market, hey, things are selling and I'm selling them too. And it's really important for us to get that out there, because the perception, if they keep on seeing signs with no sold signs, oh, this market's not moving, it's going downhill. And I think it's really important as realtors to get that sold sign or pending sign, whichever your market allows, on it. And then maybe people will still call you because you are, oh, hey, look, they were able to sell, but they couldn't. So really think about that, because I think that hurt our market, because we didn't help the perception as realtors.
Why don't agents do that? Is there a reason why they don't do it? My wife is the listing side, so I'm the buyer guy, but she's the one going out on all the listings. She's been like red hot here lately. He's going to the listings and walking out with the listing. So she's really good at that. But I don't know if we do that or not. Is there a reason why people don't do that? Because they're worried they won't get maybe that sign call?
I think so.
Yeah. Or it might fall
I think
apart.
so. Yeah, I think that's why. But I would say I'd rather have a seller sign call anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know. With all the search sites, I feel like people just pull their phone out and, you know, they can see what's going on with the property. I guess that's maybe why people just like, it's not worth driving over there to slap it on there, because they can just pull up their phone and figure it out.
Yep.
But the public perception who's driving by.
Thinking about it.
Say that again, Steve?
I said I could see that if you're in a certain neighborhood, and like, you know, Scott points out, I mean, you got neighbors that are thinking about selling, or if they see that, you know, you sold it. I know Christina's gotten listings off, you know, because she sold a neighbor down the street, you know, got her on a contract quickly. So they called her, you know, so I could see that strategy.
Yeah, I've been typically once the closing happens, I'll take the sign out of the yard, but recently I'm just leaving it in there with the sold sign, as long as I have the seller's approval, because there's always occupancy, right? Right now with post-close occupancy, I'm like, would it be okay if I just left the sign in the yard? They're like, sure. They're like happy to show their neighbors that their house is sold.
That's
Maybe
a
no
cool
one's asking
deal.
questions anymore, right? The neighbors all know now. They don't have to keep asking them. So
I don't know if Christina does it. That's a neat, yeah, that's a neat thing. I'll write that down. I'll ask her if she gets their
Yep.
permission and if they wouldn't
Yeah.
mind.
I mean,
keeping
if
it
it's
there.
an occupancy closed, typically that new buyer doesn't, want that sign in the yard anymore, but,
You at least put a pending sign up, right? If you don't want to put sold
Yeah.
while it's pending, you can get
Yeah.
pending writers and then, change it to sold right before closing. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
We
Also,
experienced something odd a couple
I
of
tell the
weeks
story?
ago. Yeah, go ahead.
The one in Livonia. Susan,
Yeah.
if you have to hop off, I know you may have another meeting, but we can just
Yeah.
keep on rolling if you have to hop off.
Thank you. I think I'm
Do you
good.
have to?
I think I'm
not
good.
telling you to leave. I know you
No,
have things. You're very
Yep.
scheduled.
I am. I'm good for a few minutes. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just tell the quick
Amazing.
story, and you guys who are not in Michigan, tell me your experience. I had a listing that sold, and the very next day, my sellers were, this was occupancy at close. My sellers were driving by, I think they needed to see if there was some mail in the mailbox, and they see a sign in the yard, and it's the buyer's agent sign, the buyer's agent's for sale sign with the sold on it. And they
So
were
this is-
so offended. They were so upset. And so was I, because I'd never seen it. And so I'm
It-
like, okay, well, I'm just going to figure this out. So I went and talked to the broker. I went into the world and talked to the broker, like, Nick was like, no, like that happens a lot in like California and stuff with these like $20 million listings. Like these buyer's agents want to like huff and puff and let people know that they were the ones that brought the buyer. I'm like, well, couldn't there be a different kind of sign though? Does it have to be like, why was it her for sale sign, And so they took a picture of it. So I texted it to her. I'm like, great job, because I was so salty about it because I'd never seen it. Do you guys do that in your states, or has anyone here in Michigan experienced that? Because I was a
So
little offended.
most of the real estate contracts that you do for a seller has the provision to place it on the MLS, to place a sign in the yard, to hang a lockbox. You have to have those things checked off. And so you as a listing agent cannot put a sign after the house is transferred. You have to have the sign and the lockbox all removed. We actually do on listing a buyer when we're doing our purchase contracts, that we have another home sold by Continental Brokers Group, EXP Realty. We do one of the little corrugated plastic ones that you see a lot of contractors in them use. Pop that one in. It's not a listing sign, but it's an announcement. This is another home sold by, and it's a great marketing because now people are seeing your name out there. We say we put it out for 2 weeks and then we pull it back in. And you're seeing your name even that much more often in the neighborhood as people still start driving by like, oh, they sold that place.
Yeah, and I don't
And
have a
it
problem with
puts it in
that.
their mind.
The for
Yeah.
sale sign to me
It
was
shouldn't be the
offensive.
for sale
It
sign.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't be. But
It
my
actually,
broker
it's
said it's
against the
okay. It's
rules.
not an ethics violation. They can do that, to which I still don't think that's right. However,
I think it's a
I
state
like the
violation.
idea. I like the idea of another one sold by and put it
Right.
in your buyer's yard,
Yeah, and
for
I
a
think
couple
most
weeks.
states would violate it, as you can't put a for sale sign in the yard because that house is no longer for sale.
Right.
So another home sold by is okay.
But
The other
Bill,
one,
so even if it was, and I know what you're saying, my Michigan people said it was okay. But if it's a for sale sign by the buyer's agent and it has sold on it, typically it's not for sale. So
ask the real estate commission, because I think they'll have another opinion on this.
yeah. And again, that was the only time it ever happened to me. I don't know if it's happening regularly. Anyone on our team, guys, have you experienced that with any of your listings? Buyer's agent coming in and putting their own sign in the yard after close?
I've never seen that, but that's pretty creative.
Yeah.
That's pretty creative. That's cool.
I do like a small corrugated sign, buyer
Yeah.
brought by,
Me too.
buyer to this home brought by, because,
My
Yeah.
buyer bought this house, or I found
Yeah.
my buyer a great house, or something like that. Like really.
Well,
that
and
would
how
be
many
really
times
cute.
have people driven by and seen the listing sign, and all of a sudden there's a new sign out there, another home sold by you, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's the last thing they remember seeing in that yard.
That's
then.
true,
It's
that's
just
true.
a higher presence.
Yeah. I like it.
And I know in
Bring that
Nevada,
down.
I know in Nevada, we're not allowed to put any type of advertising unless we have a signed listing agreement. So it would be something you definitely should call your
See, every
board on.
state,
I mean,
yeah, every state's different, you know?
Yeah,
But
I would call the
apparently in
division.
Michigan, it's a free-for-all, guys, so have at it.
It may not be, it could be the perception until someone actually speaks to the division.
Yeah.
And that's where,
Yes.
yeah. And they're the ones
It's
who then
allowable in
investigate it.
Indiana. We've had buyers agents do a for sale sign with a sold on it. And our commission says as long as it says sold, they're able to do that and they're able to
Mhm.
market that.
Mhm.
But I like Bill's idea much better of another home sold by, obviously, but it is legal for according to our commission in Indiana to do that.
Well, especially
Wow.
Susan, because we're kind of in the agent attraction business. I don't want to be making other agents upset by
Yeah.
doing what
Yeah.
happened to me.
Yeah.
So,
Completely
you know,
agree
I
with that.
care what people think. So
Mhm.
another reason I would never
Yeah.
do it. What
I
the-
could
what
see
that
some
agent-
agents ain't used to that really. Yeah. You know, having that big question mark over your head, like, what is this? You know, it's a cool idea though, because you see roofers put signs in yards after they
Yeah.
do the roof and it's there for a while. So it's kind of
Yep.
the same idea in my mind.
Yeah.
Brand
Who put
awareness.
Karma in the chat.
Yeah.
Someone said karma. Well, that's the thing. Like, this agent was such a bulldog anyway. She was like a bulldozer, you know. So it kind of came with the territory. But oh, Scott, yeah, karma. So yeah, next time, she brings a buyer to one of my listings, right? Hopefully, it stays
Hey,
a
good luck.
seller's market for a while. We'll see what happens. Oh, Maria, I'll tell you later. It was somebody I'd never had experience with. She was a Remax agent, though.
You know, there's a group within EXP, and Susan, you probably are familiar with Cami a little bit about the Real Estate Agents of Change, RAOC, and they've created a method for folks who are wanting to donate to nonprofits, organizations, churches, whatever, when they sell real estate. And there's tax benefits to it, but it's usually from a philanthropic generosity mindset.
Mhm.
And oftentimes these groups cannot take on property. They don't know how to deal with that, how to dispose of it. And so they have an agency that is a nonprofit that works with us that will purchase those properties, give the tax credits and the donations and everything else. They can then market it, maybe even improve it, and then turn around, resell it, and give that money over to the intended charity. And it's a great system within the Real Estate Agents of Change that allows you to actually have another touch out to your community that most of us don't have now. And how do we deal with and dispose of real estate property that's wanting to be donated to these nonprofits, to the churches and others?
Mhm.
And there's some great resources in there. So there's a group on chat and or on Workplace that you guys can look them up, and they do a training every month. It's a huge resource to remarket into that category that nobody else is probably doing or has the vehicles to work with that property.
Wow,
And
that's
you as
awesome.
an agent will get paid.
Mhm.
They'll use you as the listing agent when that other company goes, the other nonprofit goes to sell it, as you bring people to it.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I did not know about that. Guys,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to hop off. It was super nice to meet all of you. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and spending some time with me today. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Susan.
You've been
This
awesome,
was
Thanks,
super.
Susan.
This was amazing. I
Yeah,
love
thank
all
you
this.
so
And
much.
You guys will get
appreciate
the spreadsheet out from Susan's spreadsheet to track the market stats, and then also that seller checklist, because yeah, we're gonna
Yep.
have to stay on our game with what we're doing with the listings, I think, moving forward.
And
Really cool.
I'd like to have you on like once a month or once every other month, if that's okay, Susan.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Okay.
that. We
Love
can
it.
talk about that and work out a schedule. So,
Okay.
Love it.
all right.
Okay,
Awesome.
guys,
Thank you.
everybody, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks
Well,
for spending
hold
the
on. We
time.
got Allie's on. Allie,
Oh, okay, sorry.
she was just going to give us kind of the mortgage
doing the
minute.
mortgage
so-
minute, right?
So what's going on with everything this week with rates and all that stuff, Allie?
Hi, Ellie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We're seeing rates settle a little bit. Don't get too excited. They're still, not great, but we're
2.75.
yeah, we are seeing them kind of settle a little bit. What we have been running into is that the big banks are still throwing these teaser rates out there that are a lot lower. We just had one yesterday. We locked them on Monday. They started shopping us on Tuesday. By Wednesday, if you know anything about our team, they're already through underwriting. We've got the appraisal ordered, we are well on our way to clear to close. And, now they're looking at, these online teaser rates, and then they, go through the whole process. It takes them 3 days to get a loan estimate, only to find out the loan estimate has 2 points built in. It's not a better deal. And they've wasted all that time. Something that we've been trying to do is immediately when that comes up is hop on a 3-way call. Rick actually got on a 3-way call with their financial advisor this morning to kind of go through that process and say, like, yeah, I get it. You see this on here, but this isn't really reality, unfortunately. And kind of talking through that whole points thing. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense based on their long-term goals and kind of where we see the market going?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, where are you guys? I mean, because like the new phrase is marry your house, date your interest rate, because I think that, so tell us what you think is going to happen. I mean,
that's kind of our philosophy now. We're kind of saying, get into the house, if it makes sense to buy the rate down slightly, if it's going to make a big difference, go for it. Most of the time it doesn't. Just go with the par rate. And that way you're not wasting that upfront money that you don't get back to refinance if rates do go down again. We're still kind of expecting Q1 or Q2 next year for them to drop back down.
Because
So,
historically, when there's a recession, if there are job losses, which we're seeing job cuts, if you go to the mortgage master, Barry Habib, like he has a really good video that I'm going to put into the group, and it just talks about historically from the 70s till even this most recent, rise in rates, that once jobs start being eliminated is when rates will start coming down.
Yeah. So when you're talking to your clients, sell them on the service, go with the mortgage people that you trust that can get it done quickly, that are going to do it efficiently, that are going to get you to closing on time. You're going to want someone local so that their offers are getting accepted, someone who answers the phone when the list agent calls to verify the buyer. Go with that person, tell your clients that, and then say, if you want to, in 6 months, go with some online lender to get a refinance to this amazing rate, and you don't care that it takes 90 days, fine. That's something you can always do later on. But when you're buying, you really you sell the service, sell the customer service, and the speed and the local knowledge.
That is true with multiple offers still. Those listing agents want a local agent. I don't want
they want a local agent who's available. They want someone who answers their cell phone when they call to say, hey, is this client legit? Have you reviewed their documents? Where are they? And we're always happy to do that. We're happy to, if you want to send your offers in and copy us on the email, we always chime in and say, hey, yep, here's my cell phone. Please feel free to call me.
And
there's 5 bullet points about the file.
Yeah, the communication too, because we're still up against multiple offers. Listing agents needing to make a decision on these offers, which includes, reaching out to the lenders on these offers. And I had it happen to me this weekend. We cut it off early and I needed to make a decision on a weekend, which is not ideal. So for me, not being able to get in touch with a couple lenders from offers that I had was very difficult. They'll say, they'll answer, but say, I can't run that through. I can't give you an answer till Monday. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so to your point, it's the service, and it's getting in touch with someone on a weekend. Honestly, is a big piece of it. If you want your offer accepted in the midst of multiples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your clients, when they close, they're gonna care that they got the house, that the process was as stress-free as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be sitting there counting their pennies. At that point, they're just going to be thrilled to be in the house and that it went smoothly.
Absolutely. Is there particular lenders you're seeing them shopping around to, or is it a variety? Is it the Chases? Is it the Betters?
We've seen some Chase mortgages, a few Bank of Americas. Most people they take 48 hours, then they kind of go through the process and start getting a little bit more into, what their actual fees and costs are, and also their service level. They'll see within 48 hours, they still don't even have an estimate from them. Whereas we've got that, we're already in underwriting, we're signed, their appraisals ordered, we're ready to go. So right away, usually they'll see the service level and they're just kind of like, oh, it's not even worth, if there is a savings, which there usually isn't, it's usually hidden fees that.
And a lot of those online lenders are slashing jobs by 500, 1,000 at a time right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing we tell them, we say, just Google it, Google the reviews, know who you're working with. Say, go into, I forget what the lending tree, and just look at who it says, is worth working with. And it'll tell you right there, positive, negative experiences.
So what are we looking at for 30-year today?
We are
Conventional.
looking about mid to high fives, 5.5, 5.7. Most people are paying a point and getting in the 5.3, 5.4 range.
Okay.
And those people are usually the people who have a more conservative opinion on where the market's gonna go. They think that rates are gonna stay in this range. Those are the people usually paying points. So we give
Awesome.
them the options. They can.
And then how about refinancing down the road? So do you guys offer anything where you'll
Yeah,
do
we
like
have
a
a whole
no
system
cost?
where we track it. Yep. And it'll tell us, hey, call this person. Seems like they could benefit. We give them a call. We give them 2 options. We say, hey, we could pay your closing costs. We'll give you this rate, or you can pay your own closing costs and you'll get this slightly better rate.
Okay.
And we
Good.
usually go both ways. But yeah, we have a whole system where we track it. We get alerts if, it seems like they may be beneficial. The PMI thing too, a lot of people go into the house, they put 10 or 15% down, maybe at appraised low. So they have a little bit of PMI. We'll get an alert too that says, hey, maybe this person can benefit from refinancing out of their PMI.
Love it.
Yeah.
And forgive me,
Allie.
yeah,
Anybody
forgive
have
me,
any
Allie.
more?
Who are you? Who are you?
We're with
actually
Cross Country Mortgage.
Awesome. And we're in Wyoming. Are you just local to the area there in Michigan?
No, Cross Country is nationwide. My office is in Ann Arbor and we have one in Plymouth. But Cross Country is nationwide. It's headquarters out of Ohio, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we can handle referrals across the country. Our office would process them, even if it wasn't one of our loan officers.
And one of the things, as opposed to maybe a refi, do you guys allow a recasting of a loan if somebody had a 1-time or 2-time where they had a large amount come in, inheritance or something else?
Yeah, we've actually been doing that a lot where someone will buy their next home and they'll only put maybe 5% down. And then when their existing home sells, they'll put another, 100,000 or whatever the proceeds from the sale of their home down. And yeah, it's a pretty simple process. You call, tell them you're going to do it. You pay a small fee. I think it's like $250. And then you send them the check and they recast your loan.
Awesome.
That's huge.
Beautiful.
That's important because a lot of lenders don't do that.
Yeah, we definitely do. It's really helpful, like I said, in those situations where people can technically afford 2 mortgages, but they don't have the cash.
Right, exactly. And a lot of them can do it. They just don't talk about it. They don't advertise.
Yeah, they don't tell us they have the cash. Yeah.
You sell a better deal on a refi and it's like, well, it's not always best for the client, trying to work this out. So thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. I think that's gonna
Anything else?
do it for today. And anyone have any last questions for Allie? Going once, going twice. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on, Allie. I appreciate you.
No problem.
And thanks everybody for joining us with our meeting. One of the things that I vowed to do is not really talk about just the local team stuff because we have agents across the country. We want to talk about stuff that's going to really help all of us really grow our business. So that's really important. I want to provide quality content every week. So that's my goal. And hopefully you guys found today's meeting beneficial.
Today was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you soon.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.